Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eva Keitel, and I'm super excited to be part of this MPI Marketers and Experience Design community and our presentation that we have for you today. Michelle Crosby will be our speaker, and she is a business development professional, an internal optimist, and a driven sales strategist. She is so amazing. She agreed to do a presentation based on a hands-on experience. And so several things that she will remind us is that event marketing doesn't stop when the doors open. So during the session, she'll walk us through some of her experiences on an organization that she is working with, how she successfully leveraged social media and email marketing to increase attendance and cultivate guest testimonials for use after the event. Michelle, I'll pass it to you.
Great, thanks, Eva. Hello, everyone. As I was introduced, I'm Michelle Crosby. I'm with Bright Spot Incentives and Events. I'm the business development manager here, and the current vice president of marketing for Site Texas chapter. And just kind of wanted to kick off today and kind of review a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. So thank you so much for joining us and joining me. This is kind of going to be a little bit more of a discussion as well as just a little bit of tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. I've been in digital marketing for several years now, in a couple of my past positions as well as my current position. So I'm by no means an expert, but definitely one that I learn as I go and I love to share. So today, what are we going to talk about? Some of the learning objectives and things that I hope that we walk away from today is why market your events? Why have a clear strategy and a marketing plan that works? And I'm going to do a case study and show you exactly what I mean by that. And then really just give you some tools and tips and tricks about how to build a social media and communication strategy for your events, for your company, for your team. And then some helpful applications that make my life easier. And then we'll just do some Q&A at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. We're going to start with a quick poll. So for those of you, there will be a poll that kind of pops up. And the poll says, should a clear communications and social media strategy be developed for each event? Are you thinking yes for every event, only for virtual events, only for in-person events, or there's no need for this at all? What are your thoughts?
Okay, the poll will close in 2, 1, end. So based on our poll responses, you had 100% for yes for every event.
That is absolutely correct. Thank you so much. Yes, I think that having a clear communications and social media strategy, whether it be through your newsletters, your emails, through your social channels, for each event and everything that you're planning should have a very clear messaging and should be done all the time. In fact, here's an example that I wanted to pull together. Message consistency along with platform blending, as it shows here, ensures a broader reach to readers and enhances your event awareness. So you can see here the MPI DFW chapter has an event coming up this week, and it is their annual awards event. And so they have been promoting this via their newsletter, email campaigns, and social media and digital mentions through different platforms on a pretty consistent basis since the month of March. And then they did a little bit more in April, and then they did a really heavy push in May. But as you can see by the examples, the cadence, the voice itself, the design, the images, everything has been completely consistent. All the messaging has been clear, and it all looks the same. So no matter how you're seeing it, you then get event recognition. And then that kind of builds that FOMO, like, I really want to go. I want to be a part of this. How do I do that? And then you can, where did I see that? That's another thing, is that you want to make sure that you're creating that excitement. And so instead of figuring out like, oh, where did I see that? They posted so much, but not overly, just a couple times, a week or a couple times in a month, And you can always go back and you can look for that fiesta, or you can look for that imagery, and you can find it very easily. And so they did a fantastic job of that. And so how do you even start? Like, where's the why? Where are we? Is it a layered approach? Who's our audience? Who are we writing this for? And that's a great question. So is it necessary to really layer across multiple platforms? I definitely say yes. And the reason why I say that is that you really need to be understanding who's your audience. What is your objectives of your messaging? Is it to increase sponsors? Is it to increase attendance, increase awareness, just build FOMO? Is it getting people in the door, or is it getting people to click on a specific link? And what channels are they listening to? What time of day do they log in the most? Those are all very important when you're dealing with putting together a good, solid communication strategy and marketing campaign. Because what we're going to find out is that, those who are on Facebook may not also be on Instagram, or your younger crowd, or maybe your executives that you're trying to get buy-in for a specific sponsorship or attendance. Maybe they're only on LinkedIn, or they're not checking Facebook, or checking emails, or maybe email is really the best way to get those high dollar sponsorships, maybe going directly to the CEO. So making specific strategic communications efforts will get exactly the right people that you want clicking on your links and attending your events, both virtually and in person. So let's do another quick poll. Poll number 2. And we're going to do this, and it's going to be, how far in advance from an event should email and digital communications begin? Is it 6 months out or more? Is it 3 months out at least? Maybe it's just 2 weeks out. Is it time frame really doesn't matter? Last minute is best? Or do you think that time frame does matter, giving people time to plan?
Back to our Gmail account, and let's pretend that we're composing.
Go ahead and check which one you think is the best.
Steve.
Okay, the poll will close in 2, 1, end. Okay, so we have split decision.
Oh,
We have 40% that say 3 months out at least, and we have 60% that says time frame matters, give people time to plan.
so I think that's fantastic, because in essence, you both are right. Giving people time to plan, and if you can get 3 months out, from your specific, event, it's always a really great idea to build that momentum. Now, if you don't have 3 months, or you have a last minute program that's popped up, completely understand that. But the more time you give people to go ahead and get ready, put it on their calendars, do a save the date, and get that buy-in in advance, you'll get additional people that will participate. If they can't participate, at least you'll increase your registration, so that when you do your follow-up emails and you do your follow-up campaigns, which we'll also touch on, and why that's important, because it doesn't really end once the event ends. You're still marketing. You're marketing all this event pre, during, and post. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how and why, and kind of give you some tips and tricks for that too. So I'm going to jump into a case study, and this is based on a recent most event that I actually assisted with the communication strategy and social media marketing for the Site Texas 8th Annual Technology Summit. Some of you might have attended that, or some of you might have seen the social media streams, or maybe even seen a little bit online about it. But how did we do it? How did Site Texas kind of avert an industry crisis and turn it into a social media marketing, like membership care strategy, which resulted in a very successful in-person event with live streaming content? So how do we do it? So as you guys know, you may or may not know, this took place May 13th through 15th of 2021 in Austin, Texas at the Fairmont. Due to COVID-19, the 2020 Tech Summit, which this was originally scheduled for, was canceled and moved to May of 2021. It was originally taking place in the Dominican Republic. And due to further travel complications from COVID, in November of 2020, the committee scrambled to place the 2021 Tech Summit out from an international destination in the DR into a domestic location. There was a social media that stayed diligent in sharing key industry information about COVID-19 and then stayed engaged with members and invited them to various online happy hours, check-in chats, and became more of a community rather than just, a news stream. And so they took, and apologize, I didn't have a lot of time to grab a lot of the old social media strategy. I wasn't involved with that part, but they took it from a, here's information about the conference coming up. They halted that and then said, we will travel again. These are the things we're doing as a community. And then continued social media and marketing and email strategies to those who were either furloughed or had been laid off. They gathered new email and different contact information via social media channels to have people update their membership status. If they weren't able to keep their membership status, they did call-in, check-in calls, got updated information for them personally, but kept them on as members in all of the social media avenues so they could stay connected as a community and thus get jobs later on, which actually I am a product of. As I had been laid off in September of last year, I had just recently joined the board of directors of Site Texas. My membership was up for renewal. I signed up for the scholarship, kept my involvement, attended all of these wonderful events, and then found a job due to my connections. So it's I've got to tell you, social media communications, emailing, marketing works. So they made the announcement in January that the Fairmont Austin, Texas was going to be secured and the new plan was set into motion. The old digital marketing plan was scrapped and a new plan was put in motion in February of 2021, 3 months prior to the event. And that's when I came on board and stepped in. And this is kind of a little bit of the outline of kind of what was done. So 3 months out, we acknowledged our new destination, hotel, dates. We did a bunch of videos from the CVB. We tried to create extreme excitement because remember, a year and a half ago, they were going to the Dominican and now they're going to Austin. So completely different vibes when it comes to destinations, but equally as fun and equally as important. And so we wanted to make sure that the buy-in from the destination was acknowledged, as well as our key sponsors who did travel with Site over the years and then kept their membership dollars or their sponsorship dollars. So we wanted to make sure that they were recognized. We featured the destination, like I said, in a video to increase awareness and excitement, and invited additional event sponsors to the table, which we had an influx of based on an email campaign strategy that we had at that 3 month out mark, as well as digital media and marketing. And so we had about, I think it was 6 new sponsors sign up within the course of 2 weeks. Now we move into 2 months out. We announced that registration opened. We acknowledged our key sponsors that had signed up with us. And at this time, it was about a dozen sponsors. And then featured our speaker lineup. And we did a few teasers and which was great because a lot of the speakers moved from the 2020 program into 2021, as well as added some additional speakers. And of course, had a few that were done via Zoom, I guess it was, or via recording. Then we moved into the 1 month out. And as we're in 1 month out, my little notes here, we did an additional speaker lineup teaser, special speaker comments and video messages that we collected from our speakers, inviting those who have not yet signed up to sign up, to get additional sponsors to go ahead and sign up if they haven't done so already, by acknowledging key sponsors again and inviting others to join us. And then featured again the speaker lineup to show that we meant business in terms of key elements and education. And then it got to giving them safety protocols. And then we got into the 14-day mark. So we're 2 weeks out, and we do last-minute registration reminder. And at that time, we were going to do a virtual attendee hub, and then decided we'd do just a completely free live streaming instead. And that way it brought more awareness and additional people to the table. So we went ahead and also featured additional speakers and their highlights and their videos, and then one more destination feature just to kind of close the loop. And then finally, we did our Know Before You Go, which was 1 week out. And I don't have an example of this exactly, but we had an email, we had on the registration site, complete Know Before You Go details. And our marketing campaign for our social media strategy in the digital world was to go ahead and give the key elements and then the links so that they could read more. This also included the silent auction details. This included also travel details, how to get reimbursed if you were a hosted buyer, what to pack, how to dress, all the fun things. And then it didn't stop there. A lot of times people are like, oh, phew, the event's here, we're done, we can move on to the next thing. No, actually, you're missing out a huge opportunity. Just like you get that final email in your inbox every time that says, hey, thanks for attending this webinar, or thank you for attending this conference, or please fill out this evaluation. You kind of almost want to do the same thing when it comes to digital marketing. In fact, it's super important that you do. One thing that we decided to also do is on-site social strategy. So instead of just posting to the social media streams or sending out emails or doing those types of digital campaigns, we did the stories. So we chose 12 key moments throughout the summit, and we focused on those 12 key moments. And over the course of the 3 days, there was about 4 moments per day. And we invited all attendees to utilize the summit hashtag as well as the organization hashtag. We put that up on the main screen in the ballroom, as well as in information packets and also through notifications on their cell phones. And so during that time, social media, me, put on the Instagram and Facebook stories these key moments so that people who maybe weren't able to travel or weren't able to join us still could feel like they were actually there and part of this exciting summit that we were having, the education, the moments. And so it brought a little bit of that sizzle. Well, then our sponsors and our attendees started filtering their moments into the story as well. And if they used the summit tag or they used the organization tag, I would get flagged. And I was easily able to add that information and add those moments, additional moments, into the story, which ended up being out of 12 key conference moments, we had over 12.5 total moments, which doubled our footprint online. So it was really fun, and it was really, really a success. And so through that, we also decided that it would be a really great idea to do a post-event strategy in order of thanking the destination, then thanking sponsors, thanking speakers, thanking the attendees, and then announcing our next destination dates. But in addition to that, as we thanked the attendees, which included sponsors and hosted buyers, we sent them a link and asked them to email our social media committee photos, testimonials, information, and those will be used next month, actually, so keep your eyes peeled, in a Throwback Thursday series that we will be posting and putting together based on the sponsors and attendee information that was sent into the social media committee. And it includes beautiful photos, additional moments, great group shots, and just what they felt was the most exciting and important and impactful thing to them. We are then going to now share from a group perspective. So the outcome of this social media strategy that was written in January and put into practice in February, 3 months out, from a major annual technology summit, what happened? What did we learn out of everything? So the majority of the event sponsors and hosted buyer registrations, we kind of looked back at everything, and most of all the signups, if not 95% of the signups, came both after email and social media reminders that were posted between March 23rd and April 1st. I'm telling you, marketing does work when you're specific about it. Video invites to participants made by our keynote speakers were posted 2 weeks leading up to the summit. That equaled an additional 5 sponsor signups, which added an additional $17,000, a little bit more than that, to the bottom line. And that was 2 weeks out. Based on a combined digital communication effort, the summit brought in a total of 90 participants, 10 more than anticipated and that we had budgeted for, and several dozen who had watched digitally via the live stream feed that was made available the day of the event through Red Button TV. So in all, it's really important to have a strategy for not only your key marketing or key events, but also for everything that you're doing within your organization or within your association. And it's just really, really important to kind of don't view it as just a last minute thing. View it as something that's intentional and important to your marketing efforts. So how do you really go about building a communication strategy that includes social media? So one of the things that I've kind of learned over the last couple of years is be the guide. Really help those around you. I'm not the only one who comes up with these elaborate schemes and ideas. I get buy-in from the board of directors, from my colleagues, from my teammates, but I guide them through a process. And I decided one day to sit down about 6 months ago and write it all out and say, what are the key things you need to know in order to really put together a very good, communications campaign that includes both an email, maybe a newsletter mention, as well as a complete and total social media strategy. And so this is a copy of pretty much what I put into motion. And every time there's an event, one of these documents gets filled out to a T, and information is then pulled in and given to our social media committee, who then breaks it down, meets with that person. And so a lot of times we find, not everybody is a good marketer. Not everybody is a good advertiser. Completely fine. Neither am I. But I like to have fun with it. And I think it's really enjoyable when you have a lot of heads in the room who might be a little bit more creative than you, a little bit better of a wordsmith than you are, and you get them all together and something magical happens. So this is kind of just an outline of that, what to kind of be mindful of. Is it a campaign, which is through a multiple dates and time frame, or is it a single post? You just need to say it once. Is this in conjunction with an event, or is it messaging that you're doing for your chapter, like a membership drive or a sign up because you want committee members or volunteer involvement? If there's going to be registration needed, how is it going to talk to your registration platform like Cvent or maybe whichever platform you're utilizing right now? And do you have a name of this campaign or post? The overall purpose of it? Like we said in the very beginning, like, who are we really talking to? Are we getting new members? Is it getting people to attend something? Or is it really just, hey, I want people to sponsor this event? Really have to have that objective outlined. Are there supporting graphics already made? Are we utilizing something, maybe like a study group graphic for like the CMP or the CMM that needs to be on the design or on the messaging as we move forward? Or is it something that needs to be completely crafted and made new? And if so, does it look the same? Like I mentioned before, having it look the same brings that familiarity right back to it. So if you see it on Monday and you're like, oh, I don't know where I saw that, and you see it again on Thursday, you're not confused about, oh, is this a new event or is this the same event? And you get that consistency. What social media channels do you want to target? Earlier, we had talked about who's your audience. Is it going to be the young leaders? Is it your millennials? Is it going to be your executives? Is it the owners of the companies who you're trying to talk to for sponsorship? Is it the sales executive that you want to attend the meeting? And where are they on social media, and where are you going to find them so you get their attention? Also, you want to make sure that you put some good copy towards it. A lot of times people are just all about the images and a couple of hashtags, and they feel like they've gotten the message across. But there's so much more than that. There is a lot of copy that goes with it as well. You want to connect to your reader. You want to connect to that person. LinkedIn, Facebook, they're connections. People are looking to read something, supporting graphic, and where do they click? Whereas Instagram, it's all about the photos, and it's all about the flash, and it's all about the, if I'm interested, I'm going to click in that bio and then I'm going to follow the link. Just give me the details, bullet points, fast and furious. And then with Twitter, you only have 180 characters. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Twitter fan, to be, 100% honest, but we have over 1,000, Site Texas has over 1,000 people who follow us on Twitter. So I have to be cognizant and mindful as to what they are looking for in order to get them to click as well. So knowing who your market is, and each of these platforms, your administrator on your platforms for your company or for your organization can actually click in to each of those areas or each of those specific platforms and find out who your audience is. It's really helpful information. I wish I would have actually put an example of that here in the slides, but I use it all the time to find out when to post, how to post. In fact, let's talk about some helpful tools. So one of the things is a lot of people are looking for helpful tools for graphic design. You probably have seen a lot of the commercials on television lately about Canva. Canva is a fantastic tool, and it's free. Now, there also is a paid version of Canva, which is I think about $140 for the year. That also can include, and it just gives you additional applications and additional functionality, plus allows you to do some brand guidelines. So that's really helpful if you want to specifically only use like MPI colors or your organization specific PMS colors. You can do that with the paid version as opposed to the one that's free. But the free version still will knock your socks off, and it's easy to use and very simple. Some other design tools that I've heard about, I've either utilized, or some of the social media committee at Site Texas has utilized are Wix, Fiverr, and PicMonkey. And so I just kind of put a few of those in here. I don't support, I'm not a representative for any of these, but I have heard that they are very good about designing logos. They do high vector design files. You can do a lot of customization. A lot of them have stock photos and different font styles available, and graphic textures, and you can make memes and slideshows. So a lot of these are either free or very low in cost. And I'm curious to know what other people are using. And do you use a free version or a paid version?
So I've used Canva before, and I use it pretty regularly for a variety of clients. I've also used Wix as well. I've never used Fiverr or PicMonkey.
Good to know.
I use a very simple tool. It's Paint.
Oh,
I edit pictures in Paint.
Uh-huh.
And but yes, I see that I probably should go to next level.
Anyone else?
Oh, I use Paint too.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty good at it though.
I think I use Paint also, but same as you guys, I just a couple of years ago, the company my previous company had said, hey, we need to take things to the next level. And so they're like, oh, we should invest in this Canva deal. And so I learned Canva several years ago, and I was like, oh, I'm a believer now. It's so simple. It really is a lot of fun. And what's great about it is it's got here's a tiny little plug for Canva. They need to pay me back for this. But what's great is that if you're looking to do an Instagram story or an Instagram post or a Facebook post, or if you want to build a logo or whatever, there's preloaded templates and you just work from a preloaded template. So to me, I'm like, wow, I don't even have to know what size it needs to be because they've done it for you. So that's kind of nice. So another great tool that I've heard on a lot of our marketing calls, both for MPI and for Site Global, has been the tools that kind of help you pull together your marketing and communications campaign and then send it out in a single platform. And that's what I really love is, HubDM and Hootsuite. HubDM is a wonderful strategic partner of Site Texas, and they have this big platform that includes Hootsuite and our SurveyMonkey, as well as MailChimp, and also works with Cvent, our registration, and puts it all in one area, plus allows us to talk directly to all of our members on a membership level, all in one spot. So all in one big community. So here I've kind of taken a snapshot of our Site Texas's Hootsuite account, and this kind of just shows I pulled out a small snippet of the publisher area, and right now I have Google My Business, as well as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all in this one platform. So every time I write, or my social media committee writes a post, they can place it 2 weeks from now. They can put the campaign to go off every Thursday, and they only have to do it once. And then it's set up with a timer so that you don't have to log into all 5 platforms or however many platforms you've got. You don't have to do multiple daily reminders to yourself. Once it's in, it's like one and done. So it's really kind of a really interesting area. So I didn't know if anybody else was also utilizing a single use, like multi, functional platform.
I have used Hootsuite in the past, and I absolutely love the integration and the opportunity. There's a couple of little differences, obviously, between Twitter and LinkedIn's details, the sizes of your images, or the content quantity of characters, like you mentioned, but it's a really awesome site.
Yeah.
Lucia posted that she has used Hootsuite and Buffer.
Oh, nice. And so what do you think is the differences between those 2 platforms? Do you think one works better than the other, Lucia?
She says, not really.
I can get on board with that. To me, it seems like a lot of the times, either the differences in platforms are going to be very subtle, so it doesn't really make a difference which one you utilize, or sometimes they're tremendous, and it's really just based on what your organization needs at that time. So it's always a good idea to kind of test these things out and find out if they work for you guys. I just happen to like this particular, I've utilized it several different times with several different organizations and positions that I've held. So I'm very familiar with it, and it's probably why I like it the most. But I've used others in the past that are actually no longer around because I'm that old. But I think it's really nice because you can do the future posting. You can actually track posts and you can add tags to it. So running the analytics, I think, is easier on a platform like this instead of going into every single one. So you don't have to go into MailChimp and Cvent and all the other, Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And you can actually run all of your analytics directly out of a campaign or a campaign organizer like Hootsuite. And through our partners at HubDM, they're the ones who have been kind of, they back and pay for us to do this. And so it's a fantastic partnership. And it, like I said, it gives us real-time information about who our listeners are, where are they, and how often are they talking to us. So that's really all I had today. because I know that everybody's time is very precious, but I wanted to kind of open it up to some discussion or Q&A, or did you have any questions on the information that was presented, or maybe some helpful tips and tricks that I can learn from, because that's really what it's all about.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Michelle. This was a spectacular. I really appreciate you sharing that, that sort of infrastructure that we could customize. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
So anybody on the line interested? Okay, Marina, jump on in there.
Well, first of all, Michelle, that was great. I cannot believe how much information you put together. It was so well structured, so interesting. I really, really appreciate it. I'm definitely going to, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the other screen but I'm with you guys. Uh, because I have two screens, but I definitely going to use all the tips that you proposed. Unfortunately, I don't have any to share because I see that I really need to upgrade my skills. And yes, thank you so much. And I do have two questions. I find that yes, navigating in social media, it's a big job. You're right. It has to be customized. There are so much platforms. We have to put so much time in it. But I think and my point of view, and this is two questions I have for you. So to make it easier, for example, for me, what is your opinion? Should I make a difference between communication to members and non-members? Because I do have members of my association, or it should be the same message sent to everybody, no difference into it, because you were talking about the speakers, sponsors. What's your opinion on that? And I have another question after.
Sure, sure. No, that's a great question, actually. So members versus non-members are going to have different needs and wants. And so your members are going to, they're already there, so you're going to talk to them by providing them the additional membership opportunities and enhancements. And they are going to want to get the most out of the dollars that they have spent to be part of the organization. So you want to talk to that. Say, hey, because of your membership, this is what we're going to provide you. You're going to talk to them with this whole, this is what you're getting for your membership. Because you're a member and we love you so much, you're going to get this and you're going to get that. And we thank you and we appreciate you. And we want you to be at these places and these initiatives and these events. We want you to be part of it. You're then going to have a separate different message, and it's just a few tweaks on maybe a few words. You don't have to rewrite an entire, strategy or content. You just have to tweak some of the words, because there's people out there you want to have them become members of your association or your organization, but they're not members yet. So you want them to feel like they are missing out on a tremendous opportunity because they're not a member yet. And they're being driven to read your information with, oh, wow, this organization provides me more than maybe this organization or that organization. This organization is worth my investment because I'm missing out on X, Y, and Z. So you talk to them, and like I said, it's subtle. So you can structure what you're going to say to your members, and then just swap out a few words to switch that channel from, hey, I'm already there and I'm excited and I'm participating, to I need to be there because I'm not participating and I want to be. So that's I would say yes, I would definitely not do the same messaging across the board.
That's fantastic. And also, in your experience, did you have any collaboration from the venues? From your experience, did you have any collaborations from the venues? Did they have their social media platform that you can use to promote your events? Was it engaging?
Yes, so that is fantastic. And you know what? I don't think, and this is all honesty here, it wasn't actually part of the social media strategy. And it wasn't part of the plan. So one of the things that we learned from our experience specifically for the summit was that while we were leveraging the destination and they were reposting and they were commenting, same with the host hotel, and they were reposting and they were commenting, we didn't actually invite, other than one speaker from Blue Nanotechnologies who actually did their own posting, we didn't have the right involvement from the other venues, the other sponsors, and the other participants that we should have and could have had we sent out or explained what our marketing campaign was and how we want them to be involved. So that's actually in my follow-up notes for the next person who's going to be handling social media and communications for the summit next year.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you again, Michelle. That was really, really helpful.
Absolutely.
So I have a follow-up question on marinas as it
Sure.
relates to the partnering with the location destination sponsors. Where in your initial plan would you, in a perfect world, now that you've done this once, where would you put that? Is it at the beginning, once you've mapped who your sponsors are, or where is that?
So that is basically, yes. I mean, it's going to be part of the communication structure is to always give either a shout out or give recognition to those who have paid or are in partnership with your organization or with your team. And so yes, that's in my form that I had a couple of slides ago. It says, are we including any sponsor logos? Are we including any hashtags or @ mentions? And do we have permission to do so? So in that initial sponsorship contract that you might be doing with your sponsors, it needs to be outlined that, hey, we do have a social media and communications strategy and platform above and beyond our website or above and beyond the event itself. May we have permission to utilize your logo, your hashtags, and your @ mentions in all of our communication moving forward? Because a lot of times they'll be like, oh yeah, you can put me up on the website, or you can put me in the emails, or we want our logo to be at the event. But there's so much more than just at the event, that setting up your sponsorships and setting up your vendors or your partner profiles, that needs to be included in the communication so that when the social media strategy goes out, they know that they are going to get an @ they're going to get a mention, they're going to get a hashtag, they're going to get mentioned in some way, and their logo will be out there, and invite them to do the same, to repost, to be active. And so honestly, in the perfect world, to get buy-in from each of the marketing executives from each of those corporations, companies, hotels, destinations is really what you need in advance, so that they are looking for that targeted advertisement. It's free advertising for them. They've paid $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to be part of this event, to sponsor this event, and you're giving them 3 months worth of free advertising that they have, in essence, not paid for or paid for, like however you want to put it. So it's part of that sponsorship package.
Yeah, I love it, because for instance, in this particular event, it was at the Fairmont. So you already knew where it was. And on the front end, you could connect with Jane Smith, marketing executive at the Fairmont, and said, okay, here's what our plan are here. Here's our arc of promotion.
Right.
Can you promote as well? So
Yes.
that's very valuable. Love it.
And like I said, had we thought about it back in January, we were just trying to see the care of our members was paramount during the COVID shift. So, but next year, that's exactly, and for our events moving forward, Site Texas is actually working with the marketing committees of all of our sponsors and venue hosts.
Love it. Other questions? One of the questions that came to mind, if anybody, Lucia, would you like to jump in?
Yes, I have a question.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It was really great information.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear it.
I was kind of temporarily laid off last fall, but before then I used to work for a venue. So I have some experience with the marketing for a business. And I have good understanding, and I absolutely love your plan and all of the questions. We had a very small team, so I actually didn't work directly on the social media. We outsource it. But now when I'm home, I understand I have to kind of reposition myself again in the industry because I will be looking for a new job eventually.
Mhm.
So I've been kind of, and as you can see, I'm not a millennial, and I have really love and hate relationship with social media. I understand the importance of personal branding, so I kind of have good idea how to put the business strategy to personal branding. But I guess my question is, where is the limit between business and personal with your personal marketing, or sorry, professional and personal? Because it's kind of fine line, and I've been
Yes.
struggling with it. I used to be very active on social media years ago. It's when I used to use Hootsuite and Buffer. And now I'm kind of trying to be more active again. I've actually found out they totally changed their permissions. Like, for example, Buffer does not work with personal Instagram. They work with business Instagram only.
Mhm.
And Hootsuite made some changes at the end of April as well for personal. So
Yes.
now I'm actually in process of finding the platform where I can start to schedule, but I'm still struggling, I guess, professional and personal accounts. So do you have any tips?
Absolutely. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing, by the way, Lucia.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
I'm sure I'm not alone.
No. So I was in the same boat last year for 4 months, and I completely understand. Yes, so I unfortunately don't know of a single use like platform that allows for personal scheduling for multiple social media accounts. That I don't know that, but I do know that from a personal branding perspective, um, one thing I would recommend is that you have a clean, clear message about who you are on each of your social media channels, specifically LinkedIn, and maybe, I don't know if you're on Facebook or Instagram, whichever one is most convenient for you that you utilize the most. But then my recommendation is that if you are utilizing social media and or any of these platforms to perhaps put yourself out there as a viable candidate for employment, my recommendation is that you follow the companies and cultures and organizations that you best fit in with or want to work for, and then make specific likes, comments, thoughtful reposts, and on their particular pages or their feeds, so that then you get noticed. So, for example, let's say you want to work for Avaya, the company Avaya, and you decide that, you know what, I'm going to start following them on LinkedIn, and then you start noticing that, oh, they have a race car driver that drives a race car in like the, I don't know, Indy 500 or one of the motocross sports, who just came in second place last week. So comment on that. You know, maybe you watched the race. Maybe you're interested in cars. Maybe you just want to say congratulations, or you see that they've come out with a new product. Click on the link, go to their website, look at it a little bit, and then leave a thought-provoking congratulatory comment. Or maybe you utilize one of their products and you want to work for the company because you love the product so much. So you follow the company and you make a specific, hey, I endorse their product, or make some comments. It's one of those things where it will help then put your personal brand into a professional light, so that then there's no disconnect, if you will. Same for if you want to, let's say you want to go back working for a venue in a specific city or specific area or region. You would start following some of the top venues in that region, and maybe you repost about some of their events, or you click on some of the things that they're hosting, or you like some of the comments that they're making. And then that allows you to stay within their feed, because they run analytics just like we should be running analytics about who is out there, who's making the most comments, who's making insightful comments, where are they located, And I got to tell you, I know off the top of my head, the top 5 people that constantly and always make comments, repost, or are 100% engaged with Site Texas in both Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Because it'll tell you. Does that answer your question?
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I've kind of
That's
started
great.
doing it as well. Yes,
Perfect.
thank you.
Perfect. Another recommendation would be is that when you are out and about, and let's say, for example, you wanted to go back to work for a venue in your area, then the next time you're out and you take a picture of yourself in front of a venue, take a picture of yourself in a destination, take a picture of yourself enjoying something within the travel or event industry, if that's where you're wanting to stay, which I hope it is, then talk about it. Say what you loved about it, and make sure that so your personal posts, then you're not just following, the professional posts, but your personal posts speak in a professional manner that also set you apart as a subject matter expert, perhaps, or a destination expert, or maybe you just saw an amazing ballet at a local opera house. Talk about it. Put a picture up of the performance itself and you in front of the building, or you with the program, or multiple things where it shows that you are interested in the arts or you are interested in this venue, and talk about the spectacular time you had or what you experienced, and make that be your personal brand that coincides with your professional.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Will do.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
These were great.
Yeah, this was beautiful. Love this conversation. While we are waiting for others to maybe jump in, I know we only have a few minutes left, but I have a curiosity associated with the point of view of marketing the destination versus the content as it relates to an organizational thing, whether it's our volunteer organizations or personal organizations. What is your point of view on the amount of marketing push, maybe percentage wise, maybe, numerically?
Mhm.
How hard do you push where you're going versus what you are giving to the attendee?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. There is a time and place for all of the messaging. And so a lot of times you don't want to inundate information, you don't want to inundate attendees and or members with too much information. And in my opinion, posting 3 times a week information is pretty standard. A lot of times you can post daily, you can post Monday through Friday. Also, posting the destination about where something is happening. If you utilize, let's say that 3-month out that we utilized, strategy. I think we mentioned the destination 3 times, and the rest of it was all about content, all
Okay.
about sponsorship, all about attendee registration, what you're going to get when you register, what you're going to learn. It was more about the actual event and experience. So I think it goes back down to, what are your objectives? Is it to increase membership, which means what are those members going to get out of becoming a member of your organization? And then once they're members, it's the education and everything else that they've already paid for. That's what they want to learn about. They want to learn about, is there an opportunity for me to get a scholarship so I can maintain my membership? Is there an opportunity for me to attend a conference because I'm a member of this organization? What's the opportunities for me now that I'm here? And then obviously destination is still important when you're traveling somewhere or you're going to someplace, but it's not as important as what that member or future member is going to get out of becoming part of that organization and that experience. My opinion.
Brilliant. I love it. I really, really love it. So, well, I think that today's session has been spectacular. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you all for joining. We really appreciate it. We are going to do a write-up. Well, by we, I mean Michael will be doing a write-up and posting on LinkedIn, and we will also post our recording so that others can hear. So thank you again, and let's stay connected. And until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful and safe week. And we look forward to seeing you at our next presentation.
Thank
Hi,
you so
everybody.
much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.